gone.
Oh!
There was a huge
the
dent
GTA
on the side of
jaw.
Katie's car.
What is that on his neck?
Then I noticed the red stains on his shirt.
Oh!
I nervously opened the wood sack, and the
No.
pink hair clip of my sister came out.
Dude.
I was full of anger. I grabbed a wooden bag with all my strength and hit the man.
Bro.
He screamed and fell on the floor, and I pulled out my pocket knife and stabbed him. 2 or 3, many times. Suddenly, I heard a loud scream out of nowhere. "Stop, Lewis!" It was my sister. That was a prank. She was crying. I could.
What's good, presidential gang? It's your boy, Mr. President. Yes, boys, we're back. We're back. You guys know what day it is. You guys know what time it is. And I ain't talking about no Lillard time either, man.
Lillard, long range three. Ah!
Look, guys, hold up. Let me get my water. You guys know I gotta get my water. Before the video gets started, guys, I know you guys have been patiently waiting for this, okay? I want to say the last time I dropped a scary video was probably late August. Now, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but to me, it's been an eternity, bro, because you guys already know I started off doing scary videos, man. But look, we're back here. I'm back on my grind. I'm back on my bullshit, bro. You guys already know what time it is, man. So this time we're going to be checking out 14 horror stories animated compilation of May. Last time we checked out April. We're going on to May. And then who knows? Maybe next week we check out June. Who knows? But I got something in store for you guys tomorrow too as well. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, guys. I don't want to keep you guys waiting for too long now. Y'all boys already know what time it is, man. Wait, I clicked the wrong button. Alright, bet. We out. So, guys, right now is the time. I'm going to give you guys 3 seconds. Go get your snacks. Go get your popcorns. Go get whatever it is that you like to eat while watching scary stories or a scary movie, because you know this is about to be a banger, all right? I got my water, so I'm ready. Go ahead. I'll give you time. Let's do it. True horror story.
I was 13 when this happened. My parents left on a business trip to LA, so I had to stay home. My dad gave me his card so that I could order whatever I needed, so I kinda enjoyed being alone. And I wasn't scared because I've been home alone so many times, and besides, it was only for 3 days. Well, this was around the time the clowns were breaking into houses and doing some weird stuff.
Oh, I remember that
They
time.
never came to my area since they usually hit more quiet places.
Bro, those clowns used to literally go up. I don't know about like breaking into houses and all that, but I know those clowns used to go over there and then like just stare at you in a parking lot, and it wouldn't be like no like normal clown. It'd be like a scary clown, like stare at you in parking lot. Sometimes they would even chase you. I remember watching videos of those.
Especially the area near a forest. Although we had a fence that could easily allow someone to climb over, we didn't really think much about it because the area where we lived in was very safe. Anyway, it was around 6 p.m. and this was in the winter, so it got dark pretty fast. We had a glass room at the back of the house, also known as a conservatory, and it leads straight to the garden. The room was right next to the kitchen. I got a little hungry, so I went to the fridge, took out some snacks, and went back to the living room to continue watching TV. There was a roof on the glass room that intensified any sound that landed on top of it, even
That's a
the
pretty
gentlest
sweet
drop
roof.
of water. That day,
Yo,
it
that's
was raining
lit.
heavily.
Yo,
so it was
rich.
too noisy to hear anything except the rainfalls pounding on the roof. About a few minutes later, I was quite sleepy, so I decided to go up to my room and lay down. I was about to grab my phone and check my social media, But then I heard something drop really hard on something downstairs. It really creeped me out.
What was
I
it?
got really scared, but decided to go downstairs to check, thinking that it would be nothing. So I came out of my room, went halfway down the staircase, and looked down the hallway. The whole area was dark, but I knew that someone was standing there. I saw the back of a silhouette. I quickly went to my room, trying not to make any noise.
Turn off the lights.
Then
Turn off the
I
lights.
heard someone walking around the living room.
Oh, you're done.
I immediately called the police and whispered to the operator that I needed help ASAP. But all of a sudden, I had a sneezing fit.
That corona, that
I
ain't no
was so
sneezing, that's
panicked at that
coughing.
moment. So
That
I
corona
instantly
acting
ran
up,
to the
bro.
bathroom since it was the only room with a lock. As I was reaching the bathroom, he sprinted up the stairs so fast. I locked the door and tried not to cry. The man tried to open the door. He kept turning the doorknob. The bathroom had a small blurry window, but I was able to see outside.
What up with this house,
So,
though?
jump-
Hold up. Can we acknowledge the fact that this house is pretty nice, bro? It has a whole room with plants, and it's see-through too, bro. It has a nice roof. It has a bathroom door with a window, bro. Have y'all ever heard of that? Who in the world has a bathroom door with a window? I'll wait, but I can't.
Then I got a glimpse of what was at the door. It was a clown
Damn,
with
that looks like the
green
Joker
hair
on
and
crack.
without a nose. He was wearing a very weird outfit and was holding a gigantic knife. I had no other choice, so I quickly hopped inside the bath, opened the big window, and jumped out.
Look at that, bro.
I slid off
Oh.
the big roof and fell on the concrete. I
Jeez.
couldn't even feel my injury because I was so scared. As I was about to hop on the fence, I heard the cops. They entered our house, and after that, they arrested
Hey,
and cuffed
that's
him.
what's up. That's
When
what's
he
up.
looked past me, I was so scared and my body was shivering. But I was glad that it was over. The police contacted my parents, so they came back home in a hurry. I would see them again, and I knew that
You
I
are
was
lucky,
safe now.
girl.
From then on, I never stayed at home alone, and that clown guy was in prison for several years for scaring kids and for possible murder.
Did he actually murder somebody? Someone tried to open my car.
This happened when I was 17 years old.
Bet.
I was a senior in high school. It was the middle of the week, and my friends and I were chatting online about wanting to do something new and fun over the weekend. We usually just went to the
There's always
movies,
that one
went to the
guy
mall,
that
or
wants to
got
go
dinner,
camping.
and I thought we should try something different. The next day, I was in the computer lab for one of my classes, and I had some time to kill because I finished my assignment early. Keep in mind, Snapchat and Instagram were just starting up and didn't have the same kind of popularity as it has today. So the only thing we really had at the time was Facebook. However,
Typical.
my
Bruh.
school was strict.
No Facebook.
Blocked Facebook. So the only thing I could really do was read articles on news websites. While
Wansi
searching and
News,
scrolling
yo,
through
I
the
see
internet,
you,
an
Wansi.
article showed up. It was about an interview with a man who was discussing the truth of paranormal activity around the area I grew up in. Intrigued, I read the article and looked up the places the guy was talking about. And sure enough, I found a bunch of things.
Did
One
you see your
place in
house?
particular caught my eye. It was a place about 20 minutes away from where I lived. It was known to have multiple paranormal occurrences happen on the exact same road. As soon as class ended, I texted my friends about what I found, and we all agreed on going and seeing what this road was all about Friday night.
Nah, bro.
Friday night finally arrived. It was me and four
On
of
a
my
weekend?
friends. Right before we entered the location, I parked my car and had my friend drive, because we believed that if a guy drove, not much would happen. So she drove my car while I was sitting in the passenger seat. While switching seats, my other friends put baby powder on the top of my car, because one of my other friends read that it helps people see when ghosts touch or brush your car.
What?
It started to drizzle a bit, which bummed us out because the baby powder would be washed away.
Shit.
As we were driving my car, we turned off the radio to make it more suspenseful. All of a sudden, we heard someone from a distance scream bloody murder.
Oh my
At that
god.
moment, I heard the sound of a car door trying to be opened, as if someone was aggressively trying to get into my car. After that, we saw a police car driving so fast with the sirens on, as if they were chasing someone on a major highway. The problem with that was the road was paper thin and had tons of sharp turns, so you couldn't go that fast without crashing into another car.
Sorry, boys.
Plus, the car didn't
It's hooked
have
up
any
to my
of the county
Facebook.
police or trooper tags from the area I lived in. I knew that because my dad was a cop, and I saw all kinds of different cop tags in my lifetime. I was freaked out that those two things just occurred. We were all freaked out and drove to the nearest parking lot so that we could calm down.
Bro, that thing looks
As we got
abandoned.
out of the car, one of my friends started to freak out even more.
Why? What happened?
The baby powder on the roof of my car was smeared,
Oh.
and it was all over my passenger seat side mirror.
Yo.
What was even more creepy was the fact that there were finger marks all over the door.
Bro.
Now, this wouldn't normally creep me out, but we were driving the entire time, and we all made sure not to touch the doors when entering the car. The strangest part was that the finger marks had no fingerprints, but were clearly shaped like a hand.
What are those red things? Like
It was
scratches?
as if someone was trying to reach for the door handle.
Not today,
Not only
Satan. Not
I
today.
also noticed that there were fingernail
That looks like
claw marks on
Kawhi's
the door
hand. I'm
handle.
not gonna front with you, bro.
This freaked me out because earlier I heard someone violently trying to open my door.
Oh my god.
In the next few days, we told everyone, both online and in person, about that night and how it freaked us all out. Then, someone sent me a link to an article about the street we drove on and all the activity that occurred on it. But it wasn't the one I originally read. It was a different one. As I was reading the website, I started to notice that all the things mentioned also happened to me the same exact way that night.
Except they died,
But
right?
what freaks me out the most to this day is thinking about what would have happened if I didn't have my door locked. Would the door have opened up?
You would have been on the last exorcism. True Macy's store horror story
A
animated.
few days ago, I went to a Macy's store with my mother and son to go check
That
out
looks
some
like
jewelry.
NY.
While my mom was checking out jewelry, I noticed an old man around his 50s come near us. He was about 8 feet from us. At first, I thought he was just a random customer checking something out for his lady or something. Then,
He looks
from the
creepy,
corner of
bro.
my eye, I noticed he was just standing there without moving and looking at us.
Boy, you look
It
possessed.
made me feel uncomfortable, so I turned around, moving the stroller, which my toddler was in, because I didn't want him looking at my baby. I turned my eyes to look at him again, and I could see that he was just staring at me with a creepy
Ugh.
look. He was staring at me and my baby. Then, all of a sudden, he grinned widely
Oh
at
no,
us.
no, no, no,
The
no.
weirdest
Baby
thing
girl,
about
you gotta
him
get out of there.
was that he was wearing women's shoes
What the
and
heck?
a scarf, and also holding a dress in his hand. He opened his mouth and tried to say
That man's
something.
confused, bro.
I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could read his lips. I like you. I like your baby. I just thought the man
Freaking
was a
weirdo,
weirdo.
bro.
And then my mom also noticed that he was odd and creepy. He saw that my mom was glaring at him, so he walked away. But then he appeared on the opposite side of us and
That boy
started
moved
staring at
quick
me
like
again.
Batman, bro.
This time he pulled his phone out and made it seem like he was about to take a picture. He was staring at us and his eyes opened widely. He was smiling like a crazy
Freaking
psychopath.
creepy, bro.
That was enough. I wanted
Throw
to go
hands
up
with
to
him,
him
bro.
and tell him to get away from us, but I had my boy with me and didn't want anything to happen, so I chose to just get out of there. I told a lady who was working there what happened. She said that she would go take a look at him. A few minutes later, she came back and told us that he was a customer who has been reported before by other people.
Dang.
My mom asked,
Why don't y'all
"Why
ban
hasn't
him?
he been kicked out then?"
Yes.
The lady said, Well, because he hasn't threatened or hurt anyone,
What?
so the store doesn't have a good enough reason to kick him out.
That's so stupid, bro. People like that, not her, bro, because she has nothing to do with it, but people like that, bro, those creepy people that like to stare at women with babies, bro, and then when they don't, like, when they're not looking, just kidnap the baby, or worse, bro. People like that, bro, just sicken me, dog.
My mom and I were pissed off because obviously the man is just there to harass people. The lady then told us that he said something creepy to her and also made her uncomfortable. She told us that when she went to go ask him what he was up to, he told her that he went to the store to return a dress. He decided that he didn't like that he bought it for his lady.
He don't even have
He
one.
told her with a smile, "Yeah, I need to change quickly because she's cold now." My mom and I instantly
Oh my
felt
God, he
so
killed
creeped
her.
out, so we just
He
left.
killed her. He
What
killed
did
her.
that mean?
He killed her.
Could he have been hiding a dead body back at his place? A few days later, and I feel relieved that the crazy guy didn't harm us. But I'm still wondering what he meant by, "she's cold now."
Sickens me, bro. True horror story about the man who snuck into our house. So freaking pissed, bro.
This story happened in the summer of 2017 when I was 10 years old. My older brother and I had a babysitter, and she was around the age of 17. Since my mom was home on Tuesdays, the babysitter would
Club
come
going
on the
up.
weekdays.
On a Tuesday.
Most days when she babysat, we would go to the neighborhood pool, hang out, and eat lunch there. Then we went back home and my mom would arrive a bit later at around 5:30 in the evening. On one Thursday, the day was just an ordinary one and the babysitter came around 8 in the morning. A few hours later, we decided to head to the pool and eat lunch. We all got ready and headed out the door. As I used to be a little paranoid back then, every time I went outside, I made sure I locked the door and would immediately turn the doorknob and try to open it to make sure it was locked. The door was definitely locked, so we walked to the pool and swam for a while. Then we ate lunch and decided to head back to the house. When we got home, I pulled out the key from my bag, but I noticed that the door was a
man,
crack
someone's in
open.
there.
I pushed
Don't go in there.
and the door swung
No.
open. A little chill ran down my spine as I remembered that I made sure the door was locked before leaving. My babysitter had a frightened look on her face too. But my stupid brother thought
Oh
nothing
my
of it
God.
and just walked right in, so we followed him.
Yo, get
About
your
my
Home
house,
Alone
when you
looking
walk into the
self, bro,
house,
back
to
out
the
the
right
house.
is an entryway to the living room, and straight ahead is a hallway to the
That's
kitchen.
a big house. I'm not gonna
The
front.
stairs are to the right of the hallway, and you can see the upstairs railing from the entrance. We walked into the kitchen and set our stuff down, and I went to go lock the door. After I shut it, I turned back around to go back to the kitchen, but something caught my attention at the corner of my eye.
What?
Looking up at the railing,
Spider-Man?
I could see the silhouette of someone crouched behind a tall, narrow floor fan. I looked a little closer.
Don't go
and
near
I could
there,
see their
bro.
eyes. They were wide open and were staring directly at me.
You done for.
I was frozen
done
in
for.
fear and couldn't move.
You're done for.
All I could do was stare back at them, not knowing if it was a man or woman. My babysitter called for me to come to the kitchen, and the figure slowly walked into a nearby room and disappeared. I ran into the kitchen, telling my babysitter and brother what I saw.
Y'all need to get out.
At first, they didn't believe me.
Are
but
you
then,
kidding me?
all of a sudden, we were all silent as we heard slow footsteps creaking from upstairs. She quietly grabbed both her phone and a kitchen knife and ushered us to the back door. She slowly turned the doorknob and tried to not make any noise while opening the door. We made it to the backyard and she was going to call 911 on her phone. But before she could, we heard a tapping sound coming from
What?
one of the windows on the second floor. So we all looked up And then we saw him.
Dude.
He was a man, late 50s, short black hair, eyes still wide open, staring at us. He was pushing the blinds out of the way, so we saw his face very clearly. We screamed and started running to the gate on the side of the backyard. The babysitter dropped her phone while scared, so I picked it up and ran behind her.
She's clutch.
I
She's
dialed
clutch for
911, told them our address,
Redeemed herself.
and explained to the operator what just happened. She said they would be there in a few minutes, told us to go to a nearby neighbor's house and stay there until the cops arrive. We rang a doorbell a few times, and one of our neighbors, who was retired, came outside. He let us in, and we explained what happened as we were looking out of the window. Then we saw 3 cop cars pulling up, and the cops were surrounding my home. 3 cops headed in through the front door and investigated our house. We went outside to tell them that we were okay, and the other police officers started questioning us. Soon the cops came back after finding nothing and doing a thorough investigation. They told us it would be best to not stay home, as the person may come back.
For real?
So the
Because how did he
babysitter
break
said
in
we
the
could
first
go to
time?
her house, which is about a mile away. Just then, we heard our neighbors screaming from down the street. A few houses down, a policeman's car was set on fire and was smoking a lot.
Yo, this guy's dangerous.
The cops spotted a man running past the corner down towards the end of the street. One officer took us to the babysitter's house, while the other 3 went after that man. We later found out that the man had gotten away, so he never got arrested.
Y'all cops never
Our
do
parents
anything
arrived
right.
home as they were contacted by the police and freaked out. Later that night, we came back to the house and we searched the whole place to see if anything was missing. A cash box that was stored in my parents' bedroom was missing, but we didn't report it since the man was never found.
Nothing you can do about
I have no
it.
idea who that was or how he opened our front door. I still wonder to this day what would have happened if I never noticed the man. He could have done something to us while we were sleeping.
Probably,
I
bro.
still feel uneasy sometimes when I'm home alone.
Weirdo, bro. I realized that my best friend doesn't exist. Whoa.
It all started one summer afternoon in August. My best friend Mike invited me to his house.
Let's see what this is about.
Mike was the type of kid you'd call a nerd. He always got good grades, wore glasses, had freckles, and believed in things like dragons and magic. One of Mike's favorite things to do was performing magic for me. Every time I'd come over, he'd perform
girls
magic.
love magic, bro.
But this magic trick, though, would be the one that I'd never forget. When I got to Mike's house, he said, "I have a new magic trick to show you, and it's the best one." He grabbed my hand and we went into the living room where he had a large box in front of his family photo. It was all 4 of his family members in that picture.
What you trying to
Mike,
do, bro?
Josh, and his mom and dad.
Don't do anything that
The
will
box
get you
was
killed.
about his size so we could fit in it. And his older brother Josh was standing next to it. So I sat down on a couch and Mike started introducing the name of his magic trick. It was called The Vanishing. Josh opened the door to the large box where nothing was inside, and Mike walked in.
Can you make
After
2020
Josh
vanish?
closed the door again, he then said some weird words and then yelled, "Poof!" Josh slowly opened the box, and Mike was no longer in it. However, I was in the 7th grade, so I was smart enough to know that under the box was a trap door so he could climb down out of it. So I looked down at the bottom of the box, but to my surprise, nothing was there.
Ain't nothing there,
No door,
bro.
no secret, no Mike.
Sure.
Just at that moment, my mom called and said that I need to come home right now. I said bye to Josh, grabbed my
Deuces,
backpack, and
bro.
yelled, "Nice trick, Mike. Gotta go." Everything was fine, just until the next day. The next day, Mike didn't invite me, but I thought of going to his house again. I ran up to his house, stood in front of the door, and rang the doorbell 3 times. His dad came out and said, "Oh, hello. Nice to meet you." He acted like that he'd never seen me before.
Nice to meet you.
It was weird, but I asked, "Good afternoon, sir. Is Mike home?" Then I could see his confused face, and he answered, "Mike? Who is Mike?" I felt stupid at that moment, as if I had come to the wrong house. I then quickly asked, "Your son Mike. You have 2 sons." During explaining the situation, I felt irritated, so I pushed him to the side to get into the living room.
What?
"Josh," I said, pointing to the photo, and then my eyes widened.
Bro.
Mike wasn't in the photo. I was pointing to nothing, which would have been where Mike should be standing in that picture. I panicked, and I couldn't believe what was going on here. I then said, "You're your son, Mike. He has good grades, and he's good at magic." Oh, the box. I thought that everyone was playing a prank with me or something, but he looked extremely confused and even terrified.
This man's probably like, "Yo,
He
what you
looked
doing
at
in
me
my
as if I was
house?"
some kind of lunatic. So I ran upstairs to check the box, and I opened the door thinking that I must be dreaming. The room was full of bookshelves and beanbags, all in a circle.
Bro, this man really disappeared on
It was just
him.
a cozy reading room. I was horrified. I kept saying, "No, it can't be," over and over. That moment, Josh came in the room. I thought, this is the last chance. I quickly took out my phone thinking that I could remind Mike to them by showing selfies that I took with Mike before. However, just when I did,
Damn,
was in
those
none
cameras
of the
got
pictures.
the picture
one where I gave him a
camera.
hug,
Yo,
where we
they
went
got
to the other friend's
corrupted,
birthday
bro.
party and took a picture with the clown, nothing was there.
Hey, just
It
like
was
my
like
audio
he
last
never even
video,
existed
guys.
before.
So, by
And
the
I
way, it's a
felt that
banger video.
moment
If you
was
guys
like
haven't seen it, go check
a
it out.
nightmare. To this day, there is literally no one who remembers Mike in my town. I still can't believe what happened to Mike, but I definitely
Pennywise
believe that
took him,
Mike
bro.
is real. And he must be somewhere.
I heard the piano playing in the basement, and
My name is Kyla.
I don't know what happened.
This story is about a piano that was in my elementary school. When I was a kid, my friends and I used to record random videos in my school's basement. Most of
Y'all
the
school
time,
have
the
a
basement's
basement?
lights were off because hardly anyone went there.
My school
And
never
the
had a
reason
basement.
was that place was scary and sometimes smelled really bad. The basement was completely dark. We slowly walked in the basement with our phone lights on. I was nervous, but my friends were already walking ahead of me, so I just followed them. We were a group of 5, so I felt like I shouldn't be scared since I was with them. My friend Michael was in the front since he was the bravest and also the one recording on his phone. I was in the very back and holding onto my friend Kate's shirt. There was a room just beside the basement's wall, and inside of it was a grand piano. Nothing else, only the
That's
piano.
so weird.
We went inside that room first. We were all quiet, and you could only hear our heavy breathing as we walked through the basement. But we didn't hear anything. And then, out of nowhere, Michael said,
Tag, you're it.
"Boring." It took us around 3 minutes to reach the end of the basement. Michael put his phone back in his pocket, and we all started walking back in the long basement. We finally returned to the main gate of our school and sat on a bench. Everyone was focused on Michael as he pulled out his phone and started
You could tell
playing
Michael's the leader
recording.
on there.
It was quiet
Oh, that
at
boy uploading it
first.
to YouTube.
And then, all that could be heard were our whispers as we tried to figure out whether or not we should continue with the recording. And then, all of our eyes widened when
What?
we heard a sound coming from what seemed like just beside the basement. We couldn't believe what we just heard, so we paused the video, rewinded it, and played it again. The sound came from the grand piano. It was playing a creepy song, and at that moment, Michael almost dropped his phone.
What happened?
We were all shocked and scared.
What
We
y'all
didn't
see?
say anything for a while. I'm 100% positive that we didn't hear that piano playing as we walked through the
Oh,
basement.
the piano?
It was definitely quiet. And the scariest thing was that the piano was still playing when Michael said, "Boring." The recording was around 3 minutes long, and when the recording was done
Don't ever go
playing,
back there ever
we were
again,
all
bro.
speechless. This was many years ago, but to this day, I still
Damn.
don't have an explanation.
Both of y'all, I mean,
for
all of
what
y'all all
happened.
grown up now.
Maybe someone went to that room and played it, but if so, why couldn't we hear it while we were walking
Exactly.
through the basement? We also didn't see anyone else down there. And why did we only hear it when we played the recording? I am still confused about that incident.
That's why you should never go to schools where they got basements.
This happened in the middle of
I
last
didn't
year.
even read the title.
At that time, I was at home with my boyfriend Dan watching TV. Dan was deeply concentrated on what the TV screen was showing, so I was about to start making a romantic atmosphere. But then I heard a knock at the door. I got pretty pissed off as it interrupted, but got up anyway and opened the door.
Yeah,
We lived with one of our friends, so at the moment, I thought it would be my friend. But to my surprise, it was a man around the same age as me. He looked a little bit tired and was
He looks
forcing a
unhealthy,
smile on
bro.
his face.
Pow.
He was all sweating, and his eyes were red as if from crying. But it wasn't my business to ask. "Oh, hello," the stranger said with the wide smile, taking his hand out for me to shake.
He looks like
"Hi,"
Ross
I
from
said,
Friends.
looking at his hand and back at him. "Can I use your bathroom, please?" he asked, still having this huge smile plastered on his face. Before I could say anything, though, Dan came behind me and told the guy that, indeed, he could use the bathroom. The man went in there, and
Jeez.
Dan and I just went back to the couch and waited for him. Then I heard some sounds, like water pouring in the bathtub. After 10 minutes, I
That man
slowly
went to
started to
take
get
a
curious
shower.
as he didn't come out yet. I told Dan that I should check on him, but he told me to wait a little bit.
Oh my god, this
So,
man's
just
taking a
waited.
whole shower,
20
bro.
minutes later, he didn't come out. There was just silence in the bathroom.
Yo.
After 30 minutes, well, Dan decided that he'd check the bathroom. However, having a bad feeling, I went along with him just to be sure that nothing happened to him.
Typical.
"Hey, is everything all right?" I knocked at the door at the bathroom, but there was no response. I repeated the actions, but this time I knocked louder and yelled. Dan told me to wait a little longer, but I refused.
Nah, man.
I pressed on the handle of the door, expecting it to be
Oh
locked.
my gosh.
But to my surprise, it wasn't.
Wow.
I couldn't believe what I saw in front of me.
What happened?
To my horror, there was blood splattered on the floor everywhere.
Oh
And the
god.
bathtub
This
was
dude
filled
killed
up with
himself.
a red liquid, as well with a lifeless body in it.
Bro.
The smell of blood filled the bathroom, and I wondered how I couldn't smell that
Oh
outside.
my gosh.
I told Dan to call 911 while I went over to the body to check his pulse.
Don't touch him. Do not touch
When
him.
I got closer to it, I noticed that a razor blade was shoved deep in his neck. He was just dead. After
Don't
half
touch
an
him.
hour, the 911
Don't touch him.
arrived
Don't
with
go
the
near
cops.
him, bro. Somehow they're gonna find a way to
Took his
pin it on
body,
y'all.
and we had to give our report to the cops. To this day, I became more paranoid about a stranger. Especially, I'm positive that letting a stranger use your bathroom is not safe and
Nope.
just nonsense.
Letting a
don't
stranger
let
in
the
your
stranger
home isn't safe, bro.
Ever.
True Easbia Island Horror Story. I don't know if I said it right, boys, but it's an island horror story.
This happened to me last summer. My best friend and I went to Ibiza for a week.
Ibiza.
Once we checked into our hotel on the first day,
Oh, that's that
we threw our
lady.
bags in our room and drove
the
our
picture,
rented car
look.
to the nearest
I
supermarket.
know that lady.
On our way there, we talked about the hotel, which was located in the very old suburban part of the city. It was really dirty. It just had an overall weird vibe to it. My friend
what
was
y'all
really
get
bummed
for
out
picking
about
that
it, but
cheap
we
hotel.
agreed that it wasn't going to ruin our excitement for this trip. Later that night, around 3 a.m., After coming back from a club to the area where we stayed,
they
we
DJ?
couldn't find our hotel.
Okay.
We were completely drunk and probably walked around the streets in circles. My friend laughed a lot, stopped, and then pointed at a tall garden fence. Through it, we saw the hotel building. It was right behind the garden, so without putting much thought into it, we tried to climb over the fence. My friend managed to succeed, but
really
I fell
serious?
and hurt my right leg quite a bit. He helped me up, and we stood in the middle of a bunch of green bushes. "What the?" my friend murmured all of a sudden. I looked up, and there were a bunch of tombstones. We were standing right between two walls, and at the end of the walls there was a small chapel. The door was wide open, and from a distance, we could see that it was full of lit-up candles.
Y'all getting inducted into the Illuminati,
I was about to
bro.
ask my friend why the lights were on.
Get
but
out
that
of there.
drunk idiot suddenly started to laugh and walked toward the chapel with big,
this guy's
awkward
stupid.
steps. Due to my injured leg, I couldn't really catch up with him.
Nope.
I almost felt like puking, so I looked down for a moment. And when I looked up again, he was standing inside the chapel. I took a few more steps and stopped as I saw his face look completely gray. "What's wrong?" I asked, but he gave me no response.
What'd you see,
Suddenly,
bro?
he raised his hand and signaled that I should back off and be quiet. He leaned his face a bit forward.
How
as
you gonna
if he
tell
was
your boy
trying
to
see
back off
something
and then
in the
you go
room.
forward?
At that point, I was really scared. So I just took as many steps back as I could while still looking at him.
Just let him go, bro.
Then I heard something. The sound of footsteps, maybe 4 or 5 people, was directly in front of him. He immediately turned around and started to sprint as fast as he possibly could while yelling, "Run! Run! Go!"
He's got a
I could
busted
hear the
leg,
footsteps
bro.
getting closer and closer, and whoever was chasing me was yelling some words in Latin. My friend caught up to me just as I was about to climb the fence. He helped me out and gave me a push forward. The footsteps were still right behind us. However, when we hit the ground on the other side of the fence and looked back between the bars into the green bushes, there was no one to be seen,
Jeez.
no one to be heard. As frightened as we were, we glanced in every direction, looking for them, but there was nothing. We then got back on our feet and
bro.
eventually went back to the hotel. Our legs were shivering.
Y'all lucky to
My
be
friend
alive.
entered the lobby first, and as I was just about to enter too, I looked back at the street we just came from and saw 5 figures standing in the darkness. They wore long black clothes.
The
All
Freemasons.
stared directly at me. I got scared, so I immediately got in and went up to my room. Our hotel room was located on the 5th floor, so I looked down the window into the streets, but I couldn't see any of the figures. I remained extremely paranoid during the rest of our stay, but we never encountered anything similar. Even to this day, we haven't talked about the incident.
True horror road trip.
This happened about 4 years ago, in December of 2015. Me and 5 of my friends have our own business editing photos and videos for social media content creators.
I see,
And
yo.
because of this, we tend to have a lot of spare time on our hands. We used to go on road trips to a local
Shoot,
lake
y'all
that has a few
hiring,
nice
though?
spots to camp at, and a ski resort. We usually went there on our days off. One week, the 6 of
That
us
sounds
finished
like a
all of
sweet
our
life,
projects
bro.
early, so we had a few days off. We decided to drive to the lake. I won't be using their real names for obvious reasons, so I'll call them Kevin, Steven, Brittany, Katie, and Josh. Katie and Brittany rode in Katie's old sports car, and Steven and I rode on our motorcycles.
Hey, the squad.
Usually, Kevin and Josh took Steven's Jeep. But on this trip, Josh had just bought a new Sprinter van, which the previous owner had converted into a 2-person camper. So Kevin decided to ride with Josh.
Yo, it's
When we
lit.
arrived, we skied, had some really delicious
Yo,
camping
it
food,
looked like Drake
and
about to
listened
pull up and
Josh brag
record
about
War.
his new
Nico never move Nike, sweatsuit Nike, sweatsuit DG. It might get beaky, ring ring, call up.
van. It was a pretty normal trip. On the last day, we all packed up to head home. About 2 hours into the trip back home, we were a little hungry, so we stopped at a gas station to grab some snacks. We all parked our vehicles outside and went into the gas station together, which was kind of foolish.
Why?
We were in there maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and the car's door was left open the whole time. When we came outside, we had a huge shock waiting for us. Josh's van was gone.
Oh!
There was a huge
They
dent on the side of
GTA'd
Katie's car and another dent on the side of an old truck in the
Oh
parking
my
lot.
God, what about the
which
bikes?
I assumed belonged to an employee. We were so panicked at that moment, so we immediately called the police. But since we were a little off the grid, the police took 15 minutes to arrive, and by then, we knew the chances of them being able to find
bro.
Josh's van was slim to none. The scariest thing about it was that Kevin brought his work laptop on the trip, and I knew that Kevin didn't have a password set up on it.
They booked it.
We waited for another 2 or so hours while the police searched the area, but they couldn't find anything.
Nah,
They told
bro,
us to
they
go
done
home,
sold
and
it.
they would contact us if they found the stolen van.
Shoot.
Kevin and Josh rode with the girls in Katie's car, while Steven and I rode our motorcycles, following them very closely.
Damn, bro.
We didn't
They
stop
even
once
messed up
during
the
the
whole
remaining
side of the
3-hour trip
car.
home.
Look at that, bro.
Fast forward 2 or 3 weeks later, we received a frantic call from Josh. He said that the police contacted him and that the van had been found.
That's
All
good.
6 of us showed up to see the van, and the van had somehow been rolled on its side
Oh my God,
and
yo.
was left in a ditch near the highway.
Someone, I don't know who y'all been messing with, bro, but someone had beef with y'all, because that doesn't happen out of the norm, bro. Like, it doesn't, no one's gonna actually, like take your whip and everything. If someone's gonna take your whip, they're either gonna take your whip to sell it, or they're gonna take your whip to, that's basically it, because they like it, and they want money out of it. But if that happens to y'all, bro, then yeah, it has to be something. It's deeper than rap.
About an hour from where it had been stolen. Once they got it out of the ditch and flipped it upright, the police let us look inside to see if we could salvage any personal items. Sure enough, Kevin's laptop was gone, along with a set of kitchen knives that Josh had used for making kebabs. The most disturbing thing, though, was that once we got the busted driver's side door open, we saw that both seats were stained a deep dark red in multiple places.
Oh my gosh, bro.
And the dashboard had slash marks all
They
over
did
it.
a drive-by and everything.
At that point, we were really afraid of the van. Josh let the police take the van for further inspection, but we never heard what happened to it, or who the blood belonged to.
True horror story about the lumberjack. What about
My name
him?
is Louis, and I live in Switzerland. This story happened 5 years ago during the winter holidays. It was an icy cold day, and the snow was falling continuously, so we had to warm the house all day long with the firewood, putting it into the fireplace. My dad told us all the time that we should take care of the firewood. However, for the next days, we didn't do anything but just played Nintendo.
Got him.
Eventually, we noticed late around 9 p.m. that we had run out of wood.
Told ya.
Dad got angry. So, as a punishment, he sent me and my older sister to the local lumberjack who was famous in the area. His shop was located 1.5 kilometers away from our house.
Bro, that's
He was a
creepy.
really tall guy with a long beard
That's
and wore
creepy.
a
You
black
shouldn't
and
send
white
2 kids out
lumberjack
like
shirt
that.
as a classic lumberjack.
Especially in like some
Anyway,
wood
at
area,
first he
bro.
seemed very talkative. We ordered 2 bags full of wood, which were about 50 kilograms. He said, "Okay, hold on. It'll take about 15 minutes to cut and wrap everything." All of a sudden, my sister had to go to the restroom. He said that he would let her know where the toilet is, so she followed him.
Bro, no.
I was waiting for about 15 minutes, and then I noticed the place was silent. I saw neither my sister nor the man. I called my
Bruh.
sister's name, but there was no answer. Then I got a message from my dad that if we bought the wood, then we should come home immediately. According to the local news, the police are looking for a serial killer in the village 50 kilometers from here.
Oh, he killed
Dad
your
also
sister.
attached a picture, and unfortunately, he looked very similar to the lumberjack.
He killed
My
your
heart
sister,
dropped.
bro.
I wanted to scream, but then he came with the bag of wood suddenly. He was smiling, but I could feel that something was weird. He looked joyful.
Stab him.
Please ask me where's your sister, he said and winked at me.
You know
She's certainly
damn
not
well
far
where is
away
she.
from you.
What is that on his neck?
Then I noticed the red stains on his shirt.
Oh!
I nervously
No.
opened the wood sack, and the pink hair clip of my sister came out.
Dude.
I was full of anger. I grabbed a wooden bag with all my strength and hit the man.
Bro.
He screamed and fell on the floor, and I pulled out my pocket knife and stabbed him. 2 or 3, many times. Suddenly, I heard a loud scream out of nowhere. Stop, Lewis! It was my sister. That was a prank. She was crying. I couldn't think straight. My head was all messed up. What have I done? I killed the wrong guy. I dropped the knife and stared at his cold body. But then I recognized that I had no time. I knew that we had to get rid of this body quickly while we were still alone in the shop without him knowing.
Who said want to see a murder story, bro? Bro, alright, first of all, you don't prank around like that, bro. You just don't, alright? That's gonna get triggered, bro, especially if it's your sister, bro. For those of you guys who have sisters, you guys know what I mean.
These are customers. So I quickly looked around and found a hidden room, which was locked. We kicked the door and pushed him inside. And we were about to turn on the light in the room to find a cover, but then what I found was a huge shock. The room was full of people who had been cut in several pieces, and the floor was covered with blood.
Oh my god, this guy
The
was actually
lumberjack
a
was
serial
the real
killer.
serial killer.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
We were so terrified that we quickly covered him with some fabric
I'm so
and then ran out
relieved.
of the shop. We ran home as fast as we could.
Jeez, bro.
My dad asked us what happened. but
You
we
go
couldn't
see
tell
on the
our
news what
parents
happened.
anything. Since that day, we always made sure that we keep enough wood before the heavy snow. And I'm still wondering if the police found all the bodies at that shop.
I had a dream that changed my entire life. Yo,
My name is Melanie.
imagine the feeling that that boy must have had, bro. Like, before he found out he was a serial killer. Like, that man literally, like, stabbed him so many times. And then all of a sudden his sister comes out and said it was a prank, bro. Like, yo, I just caught a body because of you, bro. Like, you lucky he was a serial killer, man.
This happened when I was 6 years old. In
Oh my
1989, I lived in San Bernardino, California. One night, after watching my favorite TV show, I decided to sleep with my mom. I used to sleep alone, but somehow I went to her bed and she smiled at me. While I was sleeping with her, I had a dream that I was at a park. It was sunny, and there were a lot of big trees around. I was in the car, and my mom was standing on the corner of the sidewalk. I struggled to open the door, but it didn't open at all. As I was pounding on the back of the car window, crying for her to help me, she just stood there,
What?
smiling
Why?
and waving to me. Then I woke up, crying hysterically. Mom also woke up and rubbed my back, asking what was wrong, but I couldn't bring myself to repeat the horrible dream. Nothing. I told her and fell back asleep without any more bad dreams that night. After a year, we moved to Las Vegas, and I was getting ready to turn 7 in a couple of weeks. My older brother, sister, and I went to the airport to visit my aunt who lives in Washington for a while.
Hey, that's my name.
After finishing check-in, we went through security and got ready to board the plane. When I looked back at my mom, she was smiling and waving at me. It was the same way as in my dream. I couldn't dismiss the weird feeling during the flight. But despite the anxiety, we eventually arrived at my aunt's house peacefully. We were
Something
about to
happened
have a
to your
big
mom.
party since my birthday was coming.
Something
And on
happened
my
to your
birthday,
mom.
my mom called to greet me and said that she loves me. That was the last time I ever heard her speak.
I knew it.
Everything was alright. I was so happy at the time. I was waiting for my mom to come over here and spend time with us. A few days later, my uncle told us to sit down in the living room as he had something very important to tell us. I noticed that my older sister was sitting in the corner chair and was crying quietly.
Y'all about to make me cry, bro.
He proceeded to tell us that my mother was no longer with us.
How do you tell a 7-year-old that?
I couldn't understand what he was saying. He then told us that she died from a car accident. There was nothing more devastating than that day. Everybody in the living room was crying with such piercing sadness. Shout out to all the single moms out there, man. Sadness. Now I've grown up, but I still have dreams of my mom smiling and waving at me.
It's alright, baby girl. Don't cry.
I hope this story urges whoever is watching this video to cherish your loved ones. Because it could be the last day you see or speak to them.
Facts. Our new house was cursed. Join the club, bro.
My name is Gabby, and this story is my true experience. When I was 11 years old, my family and I moved to a big house in a tiny town. Our new house was located at the highest point, which was at the end of the town. When we bought the house, the owner explained to us that his wife had just passed away due to cancer. Dang. And that the house was very precious to her, so she never wanted to sell it. Still, the owner said the house was too big and lonely for him, since all their kids were grown up and already moved to other cities.
Damn,
however, during the final part of the deal, he suddenly changed his mind and didn't want to sell the house. But it was too late.
Got him!
The owner stormed out of the office saying that it was his house and that we were going to regret it. Anyway, this was during the time my dad was sent overseas because he was in the military.
Hold up. I was studying real estate for maybe a month or so. I'm pretty sure after you sign it, you have some type of time limit to where you could back out and everything. Besides, getting a house is a whole process, bro. You guys think it takes 15 minutes? For a tour and then sign the contract? No, it's a whole process, bro. You gotta inform literally everybody that you're buying a house. I'm not saying people around you, people that are handling the paperwork in order for you to buy the house. So I'm pretty sure he could have got the house back. So let's get on.
So my mom, my older brother, and I had to live by ourselves for 6 months. During that time, we had really weird experiences. Sometimes we would wake up to the sound of a goat in our backyard. It would last the whole night. The next morning, we talked to the neighbors and asked if one of them had goats, but none of them did.
Hell no, lady.
So at first, we just
get your curse ass house out of here, bro.
Now, just for your information, our house design was kind of odd. Downstairs, we had my room, my brother's room, my soon-to-be-born sister's room, and a weird wide walkway that led to the backyard. And upstairs, we had a kitchen, living room, and my parents' room. The downstairs was underground, and the upstairs was technically the first floor.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
One night, I decided to sleep with
it's low-key
my mom,
lit, bro, because I was about to say, the kitchen's upstairs.
Later that night, we heard a sharp scream coming from downstairs.
Bro!
It sounded like it was my dad's voice screaming for help. He was calling all of our names. My mom rushed out of the room and was ready to run downstairs. All of a sudden, she stopped at the top of the staircase and looked at us with a weird expression on her face.
He ain't even there.
But your dad is still in Colombia.
Got him.
How could he...
No!
Was my mom abruptly falling down the stairs. That moment was so horrible.
Bro.
It was like someone pushed her backwards before she was able to resist. My brother called the police and I ran down the stairs to check my mom and see if she was okay. We struggled to bring her up the stairs, but we managed to make it to her room. When the police and ambulance arrived, they took my mom to a hospital and left 2 officers with us that night. I was crying the entire night. and we were so afraid.
Bro.
Due to falling down the stairs, Mom was injured, and unfortunately, we lost our new family member.
I'm not even gonna put like a meme or anything when I walked out. It's just cause, bro, like when women, I don't know why, for some reason, like I feel for that, bro. Like when women have like miscarriages, bro. I had a few family members that went through that, not through that extent where they get pushed down the stairs, but just when you expect someone to come into this world, bro, and you have everything planned out and everything, like it's just, it hurts when that gets taken from you. And this is honestly really disturbing for me. I'm still gonna watch it. It's just that, bro, I just need some time to cope with that, bro, because I don't care if it's fake or not, but it's real, bro. It's real. I said it once and I'll say it again, bro. Shout out to the moms out there. Let's continue.
The most chilling part was that they found large handprints on my mom's back, as if she was pushed by someone. This led to an investigation, but they had to leave the case open because no one was found in our house, other than the three of us. We all suffered and went through a hard time that year, especially my mom.
Look at that, bro.
She slid into depression. When she recovered, we moved the following year. However, more things happened throughout the year, but not as bad as the previous one. Just footsteps, broken plates, or similar stuff to that. We put that house on the market when we left, but no one has contacted us. One thing is for certain. I hope that we never have to go back to that creepy house again. I really, really don't want to go back.
The secret room of number 20.
It was late in the evening and I was driving on the highway.
Bro, that last story just threw me off,
I was coming
bro.
back home from my friend's party.
Threw off my whole energy.
I was so tired at that time, so I decided to check in at a hotel near the village. The hotel was not too big, seemed normal, but was kind of creepy. After finishing check-in, I got my key and the room number. My room number was 21. I walked to the hallway. As I was passing by the other doors, I heard a kid's giggling voice from the room number 20, which was located just 2 doors away from my room. I stopped walking.
Don't,
I noticed
bro, just
that
keep
the door
going.
in this
Ignore
room
that.
looked different from the others.
Heck no.
The door looked very old and it had a big keyhole, and it was big enough to peek inside the room. I was actually curious about the inside, so I looked into the room, and there was a girl who was sitting on the bed with her face down on the floor. I couldn't see her face clearly because her hair was all covered. She was wearing a white dress like the 1990s style, and it looked dirty. I thought it was weird, but soon I just disregarded it. So I headed to my room, locked the door, and just passed out. The next morning, I was walking the hallway again. I didn't know why, but I instantly had this feeling that I wanted to look through that keyhole again in room 20.
Bro, why?
So
mind your own
I stopped
business
in front of the door and looked through the hole. But this time, I couldn't hear any sound and see the girl though.
Watch her eyeball pop out.
All I could see was a whole red color. I thought maybe she saw me yesterday, that I was looking through the hole. So she probably covered up the
You a
hole with a
duck.
red cloth or something. I thought that was childish, but cute. So I smiled, stepped
Yo.
back, and headed to the counter.
From other people's point of view, bro, you look like the one that's creepy, bro. You a weirdo. You're a weirdo for that, bro.
Before leaving, I asked the lady at the counter, "Hey, what's going on in that room 20? Why does the door look different, and why that girl
She'd be
stays
like,
alone?"
what are you talking about? There ain't no room 20.
She stared at me for a while and then began to talk. "Oh, you mean the room number 20?
Yeah.
There used to be a family who checked in that room when this hotel wasn't renovated before. The couple had a daughter and stayed in here for their vacation. But then they killed their daughter in that room. And
Oh.
when the cops arrived, the couple killed themselves too. But the weirdest part about it was, after that, lots of our guests told the staff that they saw the same girl who was wandering the hallways. And they all said that the girl's eyes were too red, as just like she was shedding tears of blood.
I'm good.
What she told me shocked me.
I'm good.
My heart was pounding and I
left is-
couldn't even speak anything.
Okay. All right, bet. We got a few more stories left.
Then what was that red thing? Was she looking at me through the door, just like I was watching her?
My name is Mandy, and I try to save people. All right, Mandy. You out here being a superhero.
That day, I saw him on one of my usual walks along the bridge. He was a tall, middle-aged man in a cheap-looking suit. I approached him carefully.
Why you gotta roast his suit, Mandy? Just... You never know, bro. It could be some vintage, Armani. You never know. You never know. Cheap suit, dog.
Not wanting to spook him. I asked, "Sir?" He turned around quickly with his face drenched in sweat. "Who are you?" he asked nervously.
Your savior.
I answered with a smile. "I'm Mandy. You should move away from here. It's pretty dangerous," I said, pointing to the edge of the bridge where he was standing. "What are you doing here?" He looked at me for a few
Trying to
seconds
save
before
you,
speaking
bro.
again.
Don't you see my cape?
"Oh, I come here often. It's quiet, so I like that." I smiled at him again. He then looked down at the water below. He also said that I really shouldn't be hanging out in a place like this. "Your parents must be worried about it." He sounded calmer, but wouldn't meet my eyes. I spoke softly. "Well, my parents know I'm here. They know I like to help people like you." He turned to me,
Damn.
and I looked at him without blinking.
That touched
I
his
knew
heart.
that he wanted to jump.
That touched his
The
heart.
look on his face changed to one of uneasiness.
Hug her,
So
bro.
he tried to say something, but nothing came out. "It will hurt like nothing's ever hurt before. And it's just a fall, but the aftermath is even worse." His eyes widened and he shouted, "Get out of here, kid. You don't even know what you're talking about." He sounded more alarmed than
Bro,
angered.
just
I
listen to her,
continued
bro.
to
Don't
look
do
at
it.
him as he breathed
Don't
heavily.
do it, man.
Then I slowly pointed to the pictures and flowers attached to the railings just behind him. "Actually, I do." He looked in the direction I was pointing, taking a few seconds to process what he was seeing. He then turned around slowly to look at me, pure
What did he
horror
see?
on his face. How can you?" At that moment, I knew I had saved him. At least for now. He stood there for a moment longer, frozen and unsure of what to do. Then he didn't say
Bro,
any
this
words.
story is so emotional,
Simply turned
bro.
around
Good.
and ran as fast as he could.
Good.
I dropped my shoulders and breathed a sigh of relief.
Oh my
I walked over to the
gosh.
railings and just sat there, looking at the pictures. "We miss you, Mandy."
Bro! I don't know why, bro, but once he touched my heart with this one. Long live those angels, bro.
On a big card decorated with hearts and flowers, right next to my yearbook photo. Gone too soon, said another, surrounded by teddy bears, clothes, and lots of flowers. It all looked so pretty. My name is Mandy. I was 19 when I died, and now I try to help people live.
You a real one? I don't know what to say, man.
Panic. I'm thankful for my life and I can take this shit for granted. I'm from a different breed, like I'm from a different planet. They keep me where it hurt, but your boy's still standing. It's easier to fly, but the real skill landing. And if you ever cross me, I don't believe in second chances. I might just show some love, but I don't believe in no advances. I need it up front, cause you don't know my circumstances. I spend my life